Hello, everyone. Welcome to this presentation titled Strategic Success, Applying the DOERS Student Success through OER Rubric. My name is Mandi Goodsett, and I am the Performing Arts and Humanities Librarian, as well as the OER and Copyright Librarian at Cleveland State University.
I'm Erin Avram, an associate college lecturer in the Department of Chemistry.
And I'm Sara Froehlich. I am an assistant professor of practice in the Department of Mathematics and Statistics.
So in this talk, we're going to be talking about a rubric that we found especially helpful for evaluating our open education program, and we'll provide some suggestions for how you can use the rubric as well. The rubric was developed by an organization called DOERS, and DOERS stands for Driving OER Sustainability for Student Success. The group consists of representatives from higher education systems and statewide or province-wide initiatives that promote open education, and they're mostly located in North America. Their high-level work is meant to support the folks who are coordinating the important work of open education. So they're not generally kind of the on-the-ground faculty or students who are creating materials. They are generally the people coordinating entire open education programs. So the DOERS Student Success through OER rubric, developed in 2023, is a comprehensive self-assessment tool designed to guide administrators, instructors, staff, and students in evaluating the current state of OER practice at their system or institution. The tool is really meant to help the institution or the entire system align their open education work with their values, mission, and their unique population or context. So for each area of the rubric, the reviewer can indicate if the standard is not present, beginning, emerging, or established in the open education program being reviewed. The rubric can be applied to an entire system, can be applied to one individual institution's program. It could be used by an external reviewer to give feedback, or internally to kind of self-assess and see how your program is doing. And I'm going to turn it over to Erin now to talk about how we use the rubric at CSU.
Excellent. Thanks, Mandi. So this spring, we were awarded a grant to implement the DOERS Student Success through OER rubric here at Cleveland State University. We formed a mixed team of faculty, staff, administration, and library personnel to use this rubric to assess our current OER programming. So to assist our analysis, we converted the rubric to a Likert scale, so from the 4 categories to a numerical response system. And each member of our team completed the rubric independently at first, rating each metric as either a 0, 1, 2, or 3. Then as a group, we met to discuss the context and justification for each aspect of the OER implementation on our campus. It was really interesting to see the different perspectives on each metric. And then we used both the qualitative and quantitative responses across the rubric to assess our strengths and identified potential areas for growth at Cleveland State. So based on our results, we identified 3 primary areas of strength, all of which highlighting the dedication of our library and instructional support staff and the many ways these folks support OER implementation through educational programming, professional development offerings for our faculty, and then grant and award opportunities as well. We also identified the library's textbook affordability grant program as a tremendous asset. So this is a program that provides funding and support to faculty interested in developing open education resources for their classrooms. We also identified several areas for growth, which included developing a more comprehensive assessment strategy and a data analysis plan for our existing OER programs, as well as to develop and optimize mechanisms to more effectively track and communicate the implementation of these resources, particularly to students, and to ensure that student voices are being heard in this decision-making process. So our next steps are to focus on evaluating the impact of our textbook affordability grants on various student success metrics. We're also going to strengthen the use of existing systems to help track OER adoption across our campus and to leverage these insights to secure ongoing institutional investment in our OER programs.
So now we'd like to share some ideas for how you could use the DOERS rubric at your own institution, whether you're just starting out or you are more established in your open education work. So if your program is just beginning or very new, you could use the rubric to perform a high-level assessment of where your institution stands in its OER program development. And it can be really overwhelming when you're starting out. There's so many possible things that you could focus on first. So it can really help to have a clear picture of where you are right now with an intentional assessment. The beginning is also a really great time to consider what are the goals for your program? Is it saving students money, or is it something else like improving student success or retention, or fostering a positive student and faculty experience, or maybe something else? Deciding what's most important and then using the rubric to determine where there are gaps in reaching those priorities can help you decide what to tackle first. If your program is emerging or more mature, the rubric can help you identify areas where your current open education program activities do not align with your program or institution's mission and goals. So if student success and experience are your top priority, are you spending too much time focusing on student savings, for example? It's also possible to identify gaps or places where your program could improve. So consider your overarching goals and prioritize actions that both fill a gap that exists and contributes to those goals. It's important to note that not all gaps need to be filled right away. So deciding what activities could be short-term goals and can be worked on over time or at a later date is important as well. And finally, working through the rubric can be a helpful way to determine where you can't assess what level your program is at because you simply just don't have the data. That's a good indicator of where assessment is lacking and could be added to better track your program's progress. So now I'm going to turn it over to Sara to provide some final takeaways.
As we've worked through the DOERS rubric and also met with our mentors who have already used the rubric to implement changes at their own institutions, we've learned some valuable lessons about how to best organize our efforts. So one of the first main things is to build a team. So it's important to realize the wide variety of stakeholders that are needed for a successful OER program implementation. That includes obviously faculty and students, but also the registrar, the advising office, the bookstore, marketing, among others. So it's important to develop relationships with representatives from all of these different groups. Here we've listed some questions you could ask to get the discussion started among your team. Where do we agree or disagree about our assessment of, our current program? What are our current strengths? Where are we meeting our mission? What gaps do we see? Where are we misaligned with our institution's mission? How can we better assess our progress? And what are our priorities and next steps? What can wait for the future? The next takeaway is the importance of keeping your project efforts really focused and manageable to an achievable goal. So, as Mandi mentioned, the DOERS rubric is very comprehensive. Try not to feel overwhelmed if you take a look at it. Don't feel obligated to use the entire rubric or assess your institution in every single category all at once. You can pick one attainable goal and then, revisit the rubric in the future to reassess your progress, adjust, and set new goals. So, thank you so much for listening to our talk. You can scan the QR code to access the DOERS rubric and check it out for yourself and see how you could potentially leverage it to make changes at your own institution. Our email addresses are all listed on the slide. Please feel free to reach out to any one of us with questions, and we look forward to engaging with you further in the OpenCon Ohio Discord channel.